So this afternoon I really want to go to the Sandy Camp Wetland Reserve, but it's around a 40-minute drive and I'm just tired, and they're like, I still want to get out. So jumped in the car and I just came down to Dolly's Rocks here to Osprey House. It's only about a 10-minute drive from my place. I got here, the Ospreys were on their nest. It's not breeding season yet, but they're just claiming their place. Got a few photos and a bit of video. This is one of the Ospreys up here at Osprey House. It's not nesting season yet. They're just claiming their nest. The other partner's on top of the camera. Now it's okay, I'll come down to the boardwalk here. I could see a couple of egrets and I'm like, yep, beauty. As soon as I got there, the egrets flew away. So all that was there was a whimbrel and a couple of black-winged stilts and some pied stilts. And you're like, okay, well, better than nothing. Took a few photos and pied stilt. You've never seen them do the bobbing of the head before. Very strange. They're looking skywards, bobbing his head. Then I'm looking around thinking like, is this a waste of my time? I could be home. I could be doing stuff. I've got a couple of YouTube tutorials that I'm working on. Thinking like I could just be doing that. I said, no, I'm just going to stick it out. Because sometimes things just happen. Even if you think that, oh, it's just boring, we just have to be patient. And this is something I tell people about, being patient. But me, this big doofer here, doesn't have a lot of patience sometimes. I preach it. I should practice what I preach. Sometimes I don't have patience. And I said, no, I'm going to stick it out. I need a break, need to get out, breathe some fresh air. And there's 3 places we can take photos of birds here. So I was at the first place, then I went all the way to the bird hide. I was in there and oh, okay, there's a few birds here, took a bit of video, took some photos. There's an Australian white ibis, looking for some food. So we've got some pied stilts. The one to the left there is a pied stilt. The one in the middle is a blackwing. It's just flown off. These 2 here, they're pied stilts. And you wouldn't believe it. An osprey started flying around. Now from the bird hide, it's very hard. And I'm going like, oh, this is so hard. They're like, oh, I just realized I was in DX mode because the birds are a bit far from me. I put the camera into DX mode and that meant that my field of view was very limited. And while I'm talking, I can see the osprey's far from me over there. So I'm just trying to keep an eye on it. Put it into FX mode and kept an eye on it. And I see it was just circling around thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to wait for it. Now I'm shooting in silent photography in continuous extended mode, which gives me about 8 frames per second. And they go like, okay, it's coming towards me, but Charles ain't the best at tracking birds these days. Like, it's very hard for me. I'm just moving around and like, and all of a sudden, it just dived down. Bang. lucky was I. It was in FX mode, so I'm going to have to crop the images quite a bit, but boy, I am so happy. I've never caught an osprey diving down, catching fish. Just seeing that on my camera was enough for me today, was enough for me to say, hey, this trip was worth it. Just for that 5 seconds of action, it was worth it. Because how often can you photograph an osprey diving down in a scene like this? Because it is so hard. So I'm just going to stick out a little bit more.
And that's a wimbrel in front of us there. Some people mistake him for the eastern curlew, but the wimbrel's got a much smaller beak. The eastern curlew's got a very long beak. There's not many birds here this afternoon.
Like always, I use my Nikon Z6ii, the Nikon 200-500 f5.6. I always shoot at f5.6. Rarely will I go to f8. I've got a Rode microphone on here, so when I'm taking video, I can record the sounds of the birds or me doing a talking head video, explain to you what I'm seeing on the video. I'm looking in front of me here. I've got a wimbrel, I've got a few pied stilts, there's some Australian white ibises down there. We got a pelican way in the distance over there. Not many birds. Sometimes you get a flock of waders here, but I don't know what it is with here because this year there's hardly been any waders. Across from us here, it's around at least 400-500 meters away from us here. But this area here sometimes will hold a couple of hundred of waders. But this year, there's hardly been any waders here. I don't know if there's enough food for them or what, but we've hardly seen any waders here this year. Now I want to show you, using continuous high extended with silent photography, what I get and how easy it is to track birds. Okay, there's some stilts down there. Let's find some stilts. They're just walking along and I'm shooting at around 8 frames per second. Beautiful. If I come down to take silent photography off and I go to continuous high, because this is what people are saying. You shouldn't be using continuous high extended. You shouldn't be using silent photography. Let me show you what happens. Let's get back onto the stilts down here. How in the world are we able to track a bird like that? Now don't blame the Z6ii, because I bought the Z6ii knowing this. Why complain about something we know that it does? This is why it's taken me so long to use silent photography with continuous high extended, is that I listened to too many people on YouTube, on forums. They were saying silent photography is bad, continuous high extended is bad. It's only a couple of months ago when I thought, well, I'm going to try this and see for myself, because this is what I should have done at the start. My bad. Now I'm going like, forget about all the other modes. I'm going to stay in continuous high extended in silent photography mode. Yes, some people say that you've got rolling shutter and all that. If something's moving and you're tracking something too quick, I had somebody comment saying, oh yeah, you know, like if you're tracking a baseball and it's been thrown at like 100 kilometers an hour. I'm in wildlife photography. How many birds fly at 100 kilometers an hour? A peregrine falcon? I never had the chance of doing that. About 20 minutes ago, I was at the bird hide there. What did I see? An osprey in the sky. Started tracking it in silent photography and continuous high extended. And all of a sudden, dived down. I think I got 2 photos in the whole set out of focus. I got the osprey landing in the water. I wouldn't have gotten that if I was just in continuous high without silent photography and mechanical shutter, because I would have had that blank, blank, blank. I wouldn't have been able to track the bird. This is the mode that I use these days, and I am going to do a video on my camera setup in the next few weeks to show you how I've set up my Z6ii and how maybe you could try my setup to see the success that you can have with your Z6ii when you're shooting wildlife. Let's see what else is about. I can see there's a wader down there. Doesn't look like a wimbrel, a bit too small. Let's see what it is. Hey, I better get out of this mode. Get into silent photography. Oh yes, this is another wader. One wader. Let's see if I can take a bit of video. Go to video mode. And I'm in U2, and I talked about the program modes. This is the beauty with the Z6ii is U2 on the program mode. I've set it up for wildlife, so I just go from photos to video. Oh, look at that. So beautiful. Now, trying to track these little birds is not the easiest. Hardly wind here, so they're nearly in breeding plumage. They're getting all that beautiful, like golden brown color on their chest. Now, I like taking photos. But video these days, because I can't do this much, this gives me so much joy. This is why I like this camera. The video on this camera is just amazing. So this is in real time, because things happen so quickly, sometimes in real time, that you don't really see. Oh, it got something. Now, watch as I slow it down by half. Oh, look at the pelican. Can I get that on video? Okay, the horizon's a bit skewed. My bad. But I got it on video. Oh, hey, I'm just a little bit excited. For me, this is photography. So that's it for me today. Thanks for watching. As you can see, there wasn't that many birds. It doesn't matter to me. I've had a good time. I photographed an osprey landing and catching a fish. That was unreal. That was enough for me today. I got other birds as well. If you liked the video, give a big thumbs up. Stay safe. Enjoy wildlife photography, especially bird life photography. And I'll see you next time.